What's going on, guys, and welcome back to part 2 of just talking to these two guys and hearing about their stories here for the Covenant Podcast. Just a couple of housekeepings first before we have a quick recap. If you guys want us any topics or you want us to talk about anything here on the Covenant Podcast, all you have to do is email covenantchurchnc1@gmail and put Covenant Podcast in the subject line, and we'll see if we can get on here and talk about it. If you guys haven't watched the last podcast, I think all of us would strongly encourage, because you're gonna be
like starting in the middle of a book,
halfway through. You're gonna be halfway through. So go back and watch that one first but we're still gonna give you guys a recap here real quick. So Mike, what did we talk about last time?
Yeah, I'm Pastor Mike, and these two guys are dear to my heart. Love them both. So proud of what God's done in both their lives. Both of them kind of work here on our volunteer staff at the church, and known Derek since he was 3, Brian since he was born as well. But last week's story that you got to go back and listen to is how they told how addiction, that's what we've been talking about, by the way, how their addiction started and why it started, maybe some internal pains that they were both trying to hide with numbness that drugs brought to them, and then how that escalated into from one pill to 20 a day and turned into an addiction that they couldn't get away from. And then they talked a little bit about the people that they hurt the most. Both of them are married, and they both hurt their wives, their children, parents as well. And so anyway, we're just going to kind of pick up that story now and maybe finish our conversation, because we want to get to the part where you got free.
Yeah, I was going to say, the last one was a bit of a downer. It was a lot of bad news. This one is going to be the good one.
Exactly.
But you guys, you mentioned something in the last one. You talked about how you said, well, I think you ride dirt bikes, you play football, and you said, well, I think athletes are kind of more susceptible because they kind of have that pride that they can beat anything and they can do it. In your guys' opinions, do you think some people are more susceptible to addiction than others?
Oh, yeah. I'll go first, Brian.
You already did go
That's
first.
It.
Yeah,
I'm always going to let you go first.
I believe like genetics puts you at a super high risk. Every man on my dad's side of the family suffered from alcoholism. My dad's dad died of a heart attack at 35 from alcohol.
Yeah.
Right? That's terrible on your heart. Now, my dad, he died about 5 years ago. The day he died, he was 30 years sober. And he's one of the only... He's one... You don't hear about somebody getting cleaned up and sober and not ever relapsing. He never did. He got sober, and that's what he did. He never relapsed. He never went back. But I think that has a lot to do with it. As far as I've tracked back on that side of the family, every man on my dad's side of the family has had an addiction to drugs or alcohol. And I think it's just you're kind of genetically predisposed to have an addictive personality. But I wanted to get into like with my kids. I got 2 boys. Like I said, it runs in the men on my dad's side of the family.
You want me to take it?
We want
good, man. I gotta say this.
we want it to stop now.
I pray every day that they don't have to go down that road, man. Yeah. And like it ends with me. Go ahead, you can go.
I 100% agree with Derek. I have an extreme personality. Yeah, I mean, anybody that knows me knows if I get into something, it's 110%, and
that's true.
Everything.
and it's just, I mean, it's just like that. I wrote down, self-worth issues, addictive personalities. And you hit on it earlier, not always drugs. It can be anything. You see it a lot in the military, a lot of childhood trauma abuse anything like that happened in people's childhoods or anything that they're dealing with. I mean, it's not the, like you said earlier, it ain't nobody wants to be a drug addict, but they're using that to tame something else.
Agree.
And it'll straight up take you to the grave. I mean, it wants to kill you. As long as you'll let it. And but I think it is a personality. I mean, you are sick. You really are mentally sick and depressed, down. I mean, it's really hard for you to pull yourself out of a place like that. I mean, I've never. I mean, I don't think I could ever do it. But I could understand how somebody could, commit suicide or something like that. It's a really, really dark place, and I mean, there's been times that that would be the easy way out, honestly. And thank God, I found this place and you guys, and it's definitely out there if you want it.
Yeah, it wasn't this place you found. It was Jesus that found you. And y'all gonna get to that in a minute, but here, let me add this, and I won't let you finish that sentence. After counseling people for probably near 30 years who are addicted, I don't consider myself a professional counselor, and I certainly can't write a book on it, but I'll tell you this. I can't say 100% of the time that everybody was genetically inclined. I mean, there are people, I don't really know the answer to that question. I trust you on that, but I'll tell you this, 100% of the time, the people that I've counseled that ended up addicted were hurt.
Yes.
They were hurting on the inside of themselves, and were trying to conceal something or remove something or hide something, and that's just, that's the answer to the question from a counselor's standpoint. A preacher's standpoint is that, is there anybody that's more vulnerable? Yeah, broken people, hurting people, like Brian said, their childhood, parents. Sometimes it is past stuff and genetics. I totally agree with what Derek said. I'm not disclaiming that. I'm just saying. But everybody I've ever met that was addicted was hurt from something.
But I do have to say, touching back on what you just corrected me on, you're absolutely right.
Well, I wasn't correcting.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. I found out nobody likes to take credit for anything. But to be honest with you, if it wasn't for meeting people that were walking their walk, and like what you preach Sunday, I want what they got. That's the original tie to what got me in here to find Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, had any of them people not been who I thought they were, I may not have. And I'm gonna give Phil a little credit too.
Amen. He loves you. Phil Easton.
And he'll never take it, but you take it.
Good job, Phil.
He don't ever take credit. He does what Mike does. He's like, it ain't me, it's Jesus, and I know it is. But, I try to,
Jesus used you through it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And he come in. I mean, me and Phil we used to tear it down together, and for a long time. And he got saved about 5 years before me, and he come in and checked on me. I mean, probably once, twice a month. He'd just stop by my work and talk to me, how you doing, and invite me to church and this kind of stuff. And man,
loving on you.
It used to annoy me a little bit, I mean, I remember one time which I think I backed out of, but he even set up a time for me and you to meet.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Of course, I found
you did back
excuse
out
after excuse to not go, because I always thought you had to clean up before you came to church.
Exactly.
I can't go in there like this. I ain't going to church like this.
A side note, though, I went down because he wouldn't come meet with me, so I went down there to meet with him to, love him a little bit. I wasn't going to preach at him. I just wanted to let him know I loved him. I was praying for him, and he talked me into buying a 4-wheeler. So
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Left with a 4-wheeler.
He felt better when I left. I don't know.
That's so awesome.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
It really does. Like I said, and Derek, golly, I can't. He don't even know he helps me. I mean, I'm older than he is, and I look up to him.
Way older. Nah, I'm just joking. Nah, it like what he said. Like clicked. We are absolutely the furthest thing apart personality wise and stuff like that. But we just clicked because we got that commonality, and the more I was around him, that helps me too. Like somebody that's man just trying to clean up and just digging, right? That like helped me more than for real, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
We're having a sweet moment here.
Yeah. I know this kind of thought just came to my head. Even to our college, how we talked about all that last week, and
week before last now.
Yeah, week before last. And it just brings it to my mind that if anyone's watching this, especially in college, because I know it is way more prevalent, and anyone will tell you that it's normalized up there. And something that I think is so powerful is that because you're going to go into it thinking that it's just the one time, right? Am I thinking that?
Oh, yeah.
You go into
right.
it thinking it's just the one time,
Yep.
and
One
it's like
time,
you get
then
trapped
the
there.
weekends, then the
And-
everyday.
Yeah, and
snowballs.
Then
look,
you beg,
just
barter,
look what it
steal to
does
get
to you.
whatever
Yeah,
you gotta get.
and
I mean,
Yeah.
exactly right. If you're hungry, and
Yep.
there's food
you'll
somewhere,
shoplift.
you're gonna get in there, if it goes long enough, and that's the same way. You'll do anything, and man, I've waited in parking lots for 2 and 3 hours for people, and just
People
crazy
you didn't
stuff.
even know.
People I didn't know, man. I've met gang members, cartel members. Yeah, I mean, I could tell y'all some crazy stuff, but
we might have a segment on here. Stories.
Week
Ryan.
number 3.
it's wild, man.
I can
Thank
get into
God.
that
Let's
stuff.
get to that. Hey, let's
I'm
get to
still
that
alive.
good part.
Yeah, let's get to the good stuff.
Y'all touched on it a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how did you get free from it?
Yeah.
So I want to hear. I really do. How your story of what that looked like. How did that look? I mean, I know you're not on drugs anymore. And Derek, by the way, you talked about last time about whether you could build back trust. Man, you've built back so much trust with me. I trust you my whole life again. And so anyway, I had to throw that in from last week. But
Yeah.
go ahead. How did you get your freedom? How did that happen?
I'll go again, I guess.
Well, he just got through talking, so you're up.
All right. Like I touched on earlier, like the why I started was like I lost like my identity in Christ, and when my freedom came when like Jesus told me who I really was, that it was okay to be like normal. There's no normal, but to be a good husband, father, son, employee,
Friend.
my friend,
Yeah.
my identity wasn't in football or stuff, or it was in Him, and it wasn't being in the Coast Guard because I think I've always had kind of like a hero mentality. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you want to
Like,
wear a uniform.
Yeah, I want to like be the dude, right? But
Yeah.
it's okay not to be. It's okay to just, like I said, good husband, father, son, friend, employee.
the simple.
Stuff and my identity. I found my identity was
And that is heroic, by the way, when you're doing
it's
all those
it's huge.
things.
Like my identity's not being that hero, that guy. It's better. You're a son of a king. Like
And your
your
kids-
royalty.
If your kids think you're pretty cool, that's
Right.
pretty
And I quit like trying to fight my addiction in my head and in my own way because it obviously wasn't working. Right. And I just had this radical encounter with the Holy Spirit during our worship service. And I've touched on it before, but like it was like Jesus was just waiting for me to run back, man. And He just sat me on His lap and like said, lay it at my feet. Like and it all points back to the cross. Everything points back to the cross. He bared what I deserved. And I should have endured what He did.
That's what we
But He
deserve.
defeated death I had, and to touch on just people in general too, I had like people that like never gave up on me, and that's huge. Like Mike, my mom, my parents, Danae had every single right to just walk out, and I don't think anybody on this earth would have questioned why she would have walked out, but she didn't. She loved me through it all. But that's the cool part of this. Like, people think that you know, I think there's people that view me differently now, that they know that I was an active drug addict, right? But the cool part is, like, I need to always remember that part of my life, right? And I think Jesus reminds me of it often because he wants me to look back and see how just terrible it was, right? And to see that I can be brought through all of that, and something like life on the other side of active addiction is like beautiful, man. Like I get to enjoy stuff,
Yes.
like little stuff now that I wouldn't pay no attention to, you know. But yeah, man, it's like I text Brian today. I said, you know, every addict story is the same. You were a hopeless dope addict, and now you're a dopeless hope addict.
Yeah.
Like, and I just want to like
That's
give
pretty
it to
good.
people.
I had
Like,
to get a T-shirt
Yeah.
on that one.
like I just, you know, you just want to. I just try to live it. Like, I'm not gonna thump you over the head with a Bible. Brian can tell you I've never. Like, I just try to live it, like, because I come from a place of brokenness and gratitude, like, and where those two meet, man, that's like a awesome place.
Beautiful place.
Right? It's
Yeah.
a cool place to be, and that's where I try to come from and everything. So, yeah, man, there's hope. If you're out there listening to this, Jesus, man, he'll take it away, guys. I promise. So, go ahead, Brian.
You're up.
Well,
You got to stop crying, dude. You're making me emotional.
I know, me too.
I get it from Mike. I listen to him
We've
cry
cried.
for years.
We've cried a few times.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
When I got into church, I wrote, learning that I'm worth it. I didn't really feel like that before. Like you said, I mean, basically what Derek said, man, you the simple life, and like, I'm content now. You know, I wasn't content before. Like, I mean, God blessed me with 2 beautiful, healthy kids, you know, a beautiful wife. And the only thing that kept her there and kept them kids really with me is her love and her knowing what God thought about divorce. If it wasn't for that, she'd have been gone. I mean, in 2015, 16, in them years, I mean, I'd given up. I was like, I can't beat it. And I tried, and I mean, I could string together a week or two and back at it. Dang, man. But yeah, I mean, the you know, coming here, being a part of this team, seeing people that I wanted to be like, you know, I wanted that for my family, you know. Hey, you can go through life without drugs. You can go through, you know, my kids do deserve what they're getting, you know, like what their family's getting from their dad. And, you know, and it just made me want to be a better person myself, you know. And, but yeah, I mean, learning what God thinks of me and that I'm okay just like I am. He knew I was going to walk through this. He knew this is what it was going to take to get me here, to get me into this building. Is kind of how I look at it. and it's a beautiful thing, man. It really is. I mean, I'm by no means a poster child for recovery, but you know, I do want it. I do have it in my heart now. I have felt it, and it's, you just crave more and more and more. And if I can channel, like me and Derek talked last night, if we put half our effort into being a good person as we do being addicts, I mean, it should be pretty easy.
And
Really.
y'all both are. I need to tell you this from a pastor standpoint, being both of your pastors. You know,
Huh?
yeah, I'm your pastors.
Oh, I thought you said we was
I
pastors.
thought you said
No, I said from your
Congratulations.
from your pastor's perspective, being both of your guys' pastor. You know what I want to tell you is how proud I am of both of you and what I see. But and I know there's a lot of people that you surround yourself with that were winners. You know that, and I used to tell our youth group kids, Derek could quote
don't
it.
me quote it right
Yeah,
now.
tell
You show
them.
me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Yeah, and so I would wear him out with that when he was in youth group. But what I see now, it's the people that you surrounded yourself with, and the way you serve this church and the body of Christ, whether it's in here or Fields of Grace or a soup kitchen, whatever it is. You guys both have a humble heart now. I called Brian and said, "Hey, we're gonna do a podcast. We want you on." He goes, "Are you serious?" He's like, "You got to be kidding. You called the wrong guy." But that's the
You gonna put me
humility.
on there?
Derek thought, "Yeah, I figured y'all would call me." No, he didn't say that.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't. They were both really humbled by the thought that we would invite them to do this. And I thought, man, that's the beauty of what God's done in your heart. You want a picture of it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're humble. You serve like crazy. I love to watch you with your kids, man. I love to watch you with your wives now. And I'm just proud to be your friend. Forget the pastor thing, man. I'm proud to be your friend and proud to watch what's happening in you,
And we're lucky to have you.
I wouldn't go that far now, but yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, just the difference between back then and then now, do you guys, what are some really major differences? I know you hit on a lot of them, but is there anything else that you can draw up that really just stuck out to you, the difference between back then and now?
You can remember what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Like when I was in active addiction, if you can imagine a tornado tearing through a trailer park,
Yeah.
that's what my life looked like. It just stuff flying around everywhere. I used to be extremely anxious, like crazy. Mike can attest. Man, I used to sweat just all the time because I was just so worked up, right? And
not focused at all. You could not carry on a conversation with him that
I
lasted
was
over 30
everywhere.
seconds.
Oh, he is focused.
It's not
Yeah.
on what I was trying to tell him.
and we talked about it, it's super, people don't realize, it's hard work. In active addiction, that is hard work because you're constantly thinking about where am I going to get my next fix from, who, what time, how am I going to hide it, where am I going to meet, how am I going to pay for it, I can't use my card, I got to get cash. It's craziness, right? It's super, it's just
Chaos.
It's what
It's
you
chaos.
plan your life around.
right. You plan everything around that, right? But I hate to say this, I was a terrible husband. I was a terrible father. I was a terrible friend. I was a terrible employee. I put drugs before it all. And I look back now, and through all that mess and destruction and darkness, God was there, and He never failed me.
And now
He-
you're pretty good at those
He
things.
he was constantly pursuing me regardless of how far I thought I had gone.
And how many times you let him down.
Yeah. And now I would say my life is not perfect by any means. I still fail daily. Like I said, I'm still surprised when I wake up in the morning that my wife is still there. I'm like, wow, she's still there after all that. But that's just a testament to her faith too. It's crazy when your spouse, your wife gets really on fire for God, how it affects you. And it has for me, definitely. I definitely say I'm blessed more than I deserve. I got 2 beautiful, healthy boys who think I'm Superman, you know. And I see that now more than ever. Stuff they say and do, and
That's pretty cool.
it's pretty neat, man, that these 2 little kids, you know, think I'm like cool and
They love
Like-
you and they like you.
they like me too. Yeah, you're right. And like I said, I can sit back and like enjoy little stuff that I didn't necessarily notice back when, right? Notice stuff about my kids, about just little things that God's placed in my life that are just awesome. I got a pretty cool career, a roof over my head. I'm healthy. Like I said, I come from a place of brokenness and gratitude. And when those 2 meet, it's a beautiful place to be. I'm happy. I'm joyful. Happiness and joy are 2 different things. I'm joyful because joy is something the Lord gave me, you know. And I've got every right to be thankful and grateful every day that I'm still alive. But I wanted to touch on this before I let Brian go, sorry.
No,
Yeah, man.
I wrote this down because I honestly cannot remember where I heard it. I heard it about a month ago, but somebody said that, you know, I realize that God is able and he's willing to heal any sickness or brokenness. But if he doesn't, he's still good. He's still sovereign, and I will still worship and be grateful. Me and Brian's paths would have never collided if it wasn't for my suffering. I'm forever grateful for that. So, you know, God's willing. He's definitely willing. He's definitely able. But in Philippians 1:29, it says, "For it has been granted to you on behalf of Christ, not only to believe in him, but also to suffer for him." So, you know, God promises a lot, but life's not going to be easy.
That's right.
People think when you become a Christian that nothing's going to happen and there's not going to be any tough spots, but it's right there, man. Like, there's going to be tough stuff, and I'm just forever grateful that I'm still here, and I get to enjoy this short life on earth with the people I love, and it's pretty cool being clean now, you know, seeing stuff through different eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Amen.
Yeah, thankful and grateful. 2 words that come to mind. I can't believe that he's blessed me with all he blessed me with, you know, for the way I've acted. I mean, I did nothing to deserve any of it. You know, I think back, you know, where was God in all this? You know, I mean, I never OD'd somehow. I don't know how. Never got arrested. I mean, if I'd have got pulled over or caught with stuff that I got caught, I mean, that I had at time, at a bunch of times, I mean, I could easily be in prison or be dead or be, you know, robbed and shot or any of that stuff. With the crowds and the stuff that I was hanging around. And you know, I think about people too that go through what we went through, like homeless people. Can you imagine going through all that stuff under a bridge or with no family or no support or no, I mean, I'm fortunate, man. And I appreciate it now. I didn't before. You know, I had the attitude of, you know, I was wronged and people made decisions for me in my life that I wasn't ready for, and I held a lot of anger and resentment in that I shouldn't have. But you don't, you know, when you're not coming to church and you're not hearing what you're supposed to do, you don't really know what the law is. You know, you're trying to do it yourself. And I promise you, I wore it out. and never got it right. And I can admit that now, but I'm working on it. I mean, you really do. It changes your personality. I mean, especially as long as I did it. I mean, I'm 20 years deep, and I use substances I manipulate every way I feel, and it's a dark place to dig yourself out of. And I mean, I never could do it until I found the Lord, and
Amen. That's good.
I'm extremely grateful for that.
Well, you guys, just from going through all this, just like inspire me. I mean, even
Amen.
just
That's good.
I mean, just the I'm just picturing it in my head, just like you said, I was just so far down this hole. I'm like, how hard was that? Like, how long did you have to climb? I mean, it's a constant battle. I know even with all of us every day with sin, anything, we're always battling. But I mean, y'all are battling something that literally changed your mind,
Personality. I think about it every day.
Yeah, if this,
I still do. There's not a day that goes by where it doesn't cross my mind. Still, right? 5-6 years clean, still. But like I said, I think that's
It's already been won though.
That's God's way of just reminding me, like, man, God, like, look back, look back, And then when I look back, I look at that crossroads where, he sat me on his lap and he was like, why are you still trying to fight this? And it just, it like I said, it all points back to the cross, man.
That's pretty cool.
And for me, conviction is
a
tough thing. I could think I was tricking out, people and getting away
I'll whoop
with
your
it
tail
and
too.
this and that, but you ain't hiding from him.
No.
Yeah.
That's true. There's two groups of people you can't hide from. I tell people this all the time. You can't hide from Jesus, and you can't hide from the people close to you.
That's right.
And the real test, and I believe this is important to tell you guys, I tell people this all the time. Y'all have heard me say it before. It doesn't matter to me if I stand up there and preach for 40 years and thousands and thousands and thousands of people walk through this building, or I get opportunities. If at the end of my life, my children and my wife don't think I'm all right, dude, it didn't matter how many people I preached in front of. And I'm telling you right now, your wives and your kids, because I'm around the both of you, they think you're pretty cool dudes. And that's the biggest blessing of it all.
Yeah.
It is. It absolutely is.
I appreciate you sharing your stories, man.
Yeah.
Your courage, man, just touched my heart. I appreciate you both. And I love you with my whole entire heart.
Love you, man.
Love you. So.
And lastly, I know we're running out of time. We're running a little bit over. But if you had 30 seconds to tell, say someone just happened to pass across this on YouTube or Spotify or something, what would you tell them that's struggling with it?
Reach out. Somebody here, me, I don't care. I don't want anybody to have to go through that, and I want you to know that God has loved you at your lowest point in life, and He's going to love you at your highest point. The same amount of love. It's never going to change.
That's good.
Right? Just reach out to somebody, and there's an end to that tunnel that you're in, right? That you can't see your way out of, and at the end of that tunnel his name's Jesus, and He died for all that stuff, that sin that you have done and will continue to do, right? But that addiction, he took it away on that cross. So just reach out. There's people that love you everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I give anybody any advice, I would say, find you a church that preaches out of the Bible, like this place, or, I mean, there's other ones out there, but I stopped soliciting advice from anybody that I don't know or in the Word, and that's coming from, that's going to give me godly advice. Even other addicts and stuff that were clean, but they're not Christians. Even them, I would solicit advice from good, solid Christian guys. Get in church, get in your Bible, and learn, what the Lord thinks about you, and that you are enough. And
Surround
you don't-
yourself with those people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And surround yourself with people that you want to be around, or people that you want to be like. I mean, the ultimate example is Jesus. He's the only perfect one. But people can definitely help you, the right type of people. And that's what helped me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I would feel about it.
Oh, man, that's good stuff, man. That's
Well, guys,
really good.
I enjoyed this conversation. I hope you guys did too. And I came out of this better than
Me too.
I came in.
Yeah.
Just listen to y'all's story. Thanks for being here, guys. It was awesome.
Thanks for
Thank
having
y'all
me.
guys for
Thank you.
Yeah.
joining in with us. Thank y'all for coming.
Yeah. So guys,
Appreciate
we'll see you guys next week.